dot log open paren sum comma sum closing parenthesis semicolon label dot text content equal add 1 plus add 2 plus equal plus sum semicolon right brace. The console.log method may get the job done, but breakpoints can get it done faster. A breakpoint lets you pause your code in the middle of its execution and examine all values at that moment in time. Breakpoints have a few advantages over the console.log method. Bullet list item list with 2 items. With console.log comma you need to manually open the source code, find the relevant code, insert the console.log statements, and then reload the page in order to see the messages in the console. With breakpoints, you can pause on the relevant code without even knowing how the code is structured. Bullet list item. In your console.log statements, you need to explicitly specify each value that you want to inspect. With breakpoints, DevTools shows you the values of all variables at that moment in time. Sometimes there are variables affecting your code that you're not even aware of. In short, breakpoints can help you find and fix bugs faster than the console.log method. If you take a step back and think about how the app works, you can make an educated guess that the incorrect sum 5 plus 1 equal 51 gets computed in the click event listener that's associated to the add number 1 and number 2 button. Therefore, you probably want to pause the code around the time that the click listener executes. Event listener breakpoints let you do exactly that. 1 list item list with 4 items. In the JavaScript debugging pane, click event listener breakpoints. To expand the section, DevTools reveals a list of expandable event categories such as animation and clipboard. 2 list item next to the mouse event category, click expand icon image. DevTools reveals a list of mouse events such as click and mouse down. Each event has a checkbox next to it. 3 list item check the click checkbox. DevTools is now set up to automatically pause when any click event listener executes. The click checkbox is enabled. Image Figure 5. The click checkbox is enabled. 4 list item. Back on the demo, click add number 1 and number 2. Again, DevTools pauses the demo and highlights a line of code in the sources panel. DevTools should be paused on this line of code. HDR_weak, dark code theme, content _ copy, click to copy, function, on click, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, left brace. If you're paused on a different line of code, press resume script execution, image, until you're paused on the correct line, complimentary. Note, if you paused on a different line, you have a browser extension that registers a click event listener on every page that you visit. You were paused in the extensions click listener if you use incognito mode to browse in private link, which disables all extensions. You can see that you pause on the correct line of code every time. Event listener breakpoints, exited complimentary, are just one of many types of breakpoints available in DevTools. It's worth memorizing all the different types, because each type ultimately helps you debug different scenarios as quickly as possible. See, pause your code with breakpoints link to learn when and how to use each type. Step 4, step through the code. Heading 2. One common cause of bugs is when a script executes in the wrong order. Stepping through your code enables One common cause of bugs is when a script executes in the wrong order. Stepping through your code enables you to walk through your code's execution, one line at a time, and figure out exactly where it's executing in a different order than you expected. Try it now. Run snippets of JavaScript from any page. Link. Press search plus space to activate. Run snippets of code from Run snippets of code from any page. Tools for web developers. Google developers. Web link banner. Web link list item list with 1 item. Fundamentals link list item list with 4 items. Navigation. Tools selected. Visited link list item. Updates link list item. Case studies link list item. Search box. Edit text. Exited navigation. Form. Search. All products. Visited link. Exited form. User settings button. Account profile picture. Image. Tools for web developers. Visited link list item list with 1 item. Home. Visited link list item list with 6 items. Navigation. Chrome DevTools selected. Visited link list item. Lighthouse link list item. Puppeteer link list item. Workbox link list item. Chrome User Experience Report link list item. The exited banner. Exited navigation. Chrome Dev Summit. Chrome Dev Summit schedule link. Overview. Visited link list item list with 20 items. Navigation. DevTools for beginners. Click to expand / collapse link list item. View and change CSS. Click to expand / collapse link list item. View and change JavaScript. Click to expand / collapse link list item. UI references and overviews. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Optimize website speed link list item. Accessibility reference link list item. Simulate mobile devices with device mode. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Remote debug Android devices. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Log messages and run JavaScript in the console. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Analyze runtime performance. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Analyze network performance. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Analyze memory problems. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Save changes to disk with workspaces link list item. Debug progressive web apps link list item. Analyze security problems link list item. Run snippets of JavaScript from any page. Visited link list item. View and change HTML. Click to expand / collapse link list item. View and change storage and resources. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Extend DevTools. Click to expand / collapse link list item. Contents internal link list item list with 5 items. Navigation. Create snippet internal link list item. Run snippet internal link list item. Set breakpoints internal link list item. Feedback internal link list item. Site content star ratings, rating 1 out of 5 button. Exited navigation, article. Site content star ratings, rating 2 out of 5 button. Site content star ratings, rating 3 out of 5 button. Site content star ratings, rating 4 out of 5 button. Site content star ratings, rating 5 out of 5 button. Run snippets of code from any page. Heading 1. Case Basques, image. By Case Basques, link. Technical Writer, Chrome DevTools and Lighthouse. Snippets are small scripts that you can author and execute within the Sources panel of Chrome DevTools. You can access and run them from any page. When you run a snippet, it executes from the context of the currently open page. If you have small utilities or debugging scripts which you find yourself using repeatedly on multiple pages, consider saving the scripts as snippets. You can also use snippets as an alternative to bookmarklets. Link. .tl. Doctor. Heading 3. Bullet. List item. List with 3 items. Snippets are small scripts that you can run from any page, similar to bookmarklets. Bullet list item. Run portions of snippets in the console with the quote evaluate in console quote feature. Bullet list item. Remember that popular features from the sources panel, like breakpoints, also work with snippets. Create snippet. Heading 2. To create a snippet, open the Sources panel, click on the Snippets tab, right-click within the navigator, and then select New. Create snippet image. Enter your code in the editor. When you have unsaved changes, your script name has an asterisk next to it, like in the screenshot below. Press Command +S Mac or Control+S Windows, Linux to save your changes. Unsaved snippet image. Run snippet. Heading 2. There are 3 ways to run your snippet. Bullet list item. List with 3 items. Right-click on the snippet file name in the pane on the left that lists all your snippets and select Run. Bullet list item. Click the Run button. Run snippet button. Image. Closing parenthesis. Bullet list item. Press Command +Enter Mac or Control +Enter Windows, Linux to evaluate a portion of your snippet in the console. Highlight the portion, right-click anywhere in the editor, and select Evaluate in Console, or use the keyboard shortcut Command +Shift plus E. Windows, Linux, evaluate in console, image, set breakpoints, heading 2. Just like other scripts, you can set breakpoints on snippets. C. Pause your code with breakpoints, link, to learn how to add breakpoints from within the sources panel, feedback, heading 2. Was this page helpful? Yes, button, no, button. Except as otherwise noted, the content of this page is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, link, and code samples are licensed under the Apache 2.0 license, link, for details, see our site policies, link. Java is a registered trademark of Oracle and / or its affiliates. Last updated August 22nd, 2018. Chromium blog, link, list item, list, with 4 items, navigation. The latest news on the Chromium blog, GitHub, link, list item. Fork our code samples and other open source projects. Twitter, link, list item. Connect with it Chromium Div on Twitter. Videos, link, list item. Check out our videos. Key topics. Heading 3, list item, list, with 4 items, navigation. Building 4 billions, link, list item, list, with 4 items. Chrome extension docs, link, list item. Developer feedback program, link, list item. Progressive web apps, link, list item. Training and partners, heading 3, list item. Instructor-led training, link, list item, list, with 3 items. Web courses at Udacity, link, list item. Agencies, link, list item. Contribute, heading 3, list item. File and issue, link, list item, list, with 4 items. View page source, link, list item. Resources, link, list item. Translating, link, list item. Google developers, visited, link, list item. Android, link, list item, list, with 5 items. Chrome, link, list item. Firebase, visited, link, list item. Google Cloud Platform, visited, link, list item. All products, visited, link, list item. Arrow _drop _down, form, navigation. English, terms, link, exited form. Privacy, visited, link. Sign up for the Google Developers Newsletter. Subscribe, link. Exited navigation. Row 1 column 1. Table 1 by 5. Link. Link. Row 1 column 2. Link. Row 1 column 3. Link. Row 1 column 4. Link. Row 1 column 5. Alert. Lighthouse, link, press search plus space to activate. https://developers.google.com/web/tools/lighthouse/alert. Alert. Background, extensions, tab. Exited main. Sign in. Google Secure Corporate Social Network, G Suite, tab, web view. Gdocs use counter features.csv, tab. Search results for Google, Google Cloud, tab. Google Secure Corporate Social Network. G Suite, tab. Web view. Extensions. Extensions, tab. Lighthouse. Tools for web developers, Google developers. Background extensions, tab. Lighthouse. Tools for web developers, Google developers. Lighthouse. Tools for web developers, Google developers. Search. History, menu, recent pages, Lighthouse, visited, link. Run snippets of code from any page. Tools, visited, link. Tools, visited, link. Menu. Most visited pages. Google Developers Experts. Visited, link. Google Developers. Visited, link. Google Developers. Visited. Docs underscore use counter underscore features dot CSV. Alert. https://www.google.com/search site equal and q equal Gottfried plus Wilhelm plus Leibniz and oi equal ddle and court equal Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz Google search. Veterans Day 2018. Link. Main menu button has pop up. Search Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz combo box. Search. Clear search button. Google search button. All exited search. News. Link. Videos. Link. Shopping. Link. Images. Link. Maps. Link. Books. Link. Flights. Link. Personal. Link. Search tools button. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Heading 3. German philosopher. Following button. More options button has pop up. Overview tab. 1 of 4. Selected tab list. Videos tab. 2 of 4. Books tab. 3 of 4. More people tab. 4 of 4. 1 of 4. Exited tab list. List item. List. With 1 item. Image result for Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz button. 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 View all link. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz was a prominent German polymath and philosopher in the history of mathematics and the history of philosophy. His most notable accomplishment was conceiving the ideas of differential and integral calculus, independently of Isaac Newton's contemporaneous developments. Wikipedia, link. Born, Leipzig, Germany, link. Died, Hanover, Germany, link. Siblings, Anna Katharina Leibniz, link. Anna Rosina, link, Johann Friedrich Leibniz, link, education, Leipzig University, link, University of Altdorf, link, University of Jena, link, parents, Friedrich Leibniz, link, Katharina Schmuck, link, top results, heading 3, heading 2. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, Wikipedia wiki Gottfried _Wilhelm _L ellipsis, link, splitter. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz from n.m.wikipedia.org, link. Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz, sometimes spelled Leibniz, was a prominent German polymath and philosopher in the history of mathematics and the history of philosophy. His most notable accomplishment was ellipsis. You visited this page on 7/28/18. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz Prize, link. Leibniz Wheel, link. Leibniz's notation, link. Best of all possible worlds, link. Law of continuity, link. Stepped reckoner, link. Theodicee, link. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, biography and facts. Britannica.com biography Gottfried ellipsis, link, splitter. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz from www.britannica.com, link. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Born June 21st, July 1st, New Style, 1646, Leipzig, Germany, died November 14th, 1716, Hanover, Germany, German philosopher, mathematician, and political advisor, important ellipsis. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, the Metaphysics Research Lab, Stanford University, Mali Leibniz, link, splitter. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz from mali.stanford.edu, link. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz b. 1646, d. 1716, was a German philosopher, mathematician, and logician who is probably most well known for calculus, independently of surellipsis. More people. Heading 3. Heading 2. More. Link. Rene Descartes. Link. List item. List. With 7 items. B. Spinoza. Link. List item. Isaac Newton. Link. List item. Immanuel Kant. Link. List item. Blaise Pascal. Link. List item. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Link. List item. Aristotle. Link. List item. View all. View all. Link. Videos. Heading 3. Heading 2. More. Link. 201 Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz Google Doodle YouTube, June 30th, 2018. Link. List item. List. With 8 items. 155 Who was Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz? Everything you need to know about Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. YouTube, June 30th, 2018. Link. List item. 123 Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Fast facts about polymath and philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. YouTube, June 30th, 2018. Link. List item. 202 Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. 5 facts need to know about inventor of calculus. YouTube, July 1st, 2018. Visited. Link. List item. 200 Who was Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz? Need to know about inventor of 123 Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Fast facts about polymath and YouTube. Banner. Oh, link. YouTube. Heading 1. Search YouTube. Button. Settings. Button. Has pop-up. Alert. YouTube. YouTube video player. Video. Play. Button. Oh, link. Banner. YouTube. Heading 1. Search YouTube. Button. Settings. Button. Has pop-up. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Fast facts about polymath and philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Heading 2. Exited banner. Show more. Button. Doodle celebration today. Link. 1000. Play. Button. Press search plus space to activate. YouTube video player. Search YouTube. Edit text. Space. YouTube landscape alert. Press ESC YouTube video toolbar play button video toolbar 0/100/122 volume slider 1 min 0 max 1 mute button exit full screen button show more media controls button more options movie time scrubber slider 002 min 0 max 82.55 021 020 023 landscape YouTube oh link banner YouTube heading 1 search YouTube button settings button has pop up exited banner row 1 column 1 table 1 by 5 link link row 1 column 2 link row 1 column 3 link row 1 column 4 link row 1 column 5 alert
This is a traditional greeting of my people that I am bound to give, albeit it's a short version. What I said in my own language translated into English thusly. Hello, my relatives. I am an Oglala Lakota, And I come from our very sacred holy land, the Black Hills, where Yellow Thunder Village is. My mother is from the War Eagle clan, and my father's family is from the Crazy Horse clan. This greeting is to this day the way all Indians throughout the nation still greet one another, those that still know their culture. This is the only way we present ourselves to one another that is acceptable. We tell you who we are, where we are from, who we are from, our clans, and we do this without ever saying our name. Anything less would be an insult to you and to my people. Senators, my morning prayers to the great mystery always include you and your colleagues in Congress, as well as leaders in all governments. It is an honor to come before you as a spokesman for my people, the American Indians of the United States of America. In these United States of America, this great country of ours, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be, except American Indians. And that is created by the laws of this nation and condoned by its subsidiaries, the so-called tribal government, and designed for the Indian to fail, to be expendable, to be eliminated. I take you back in your history. After the American Indian hostiles had been subdued and forcibly confined to Indian reservations, it took approximately 30 years, one generation, for us to adjust and become economically viable, contrary to what the anthropologists say and what we even ourselves are taught as Indian people. However, allotments were made smaller, our remaining lands were open to homesteading, and we were forced into reducing our livestock. Nevertheless, we made the adjustment again in less than half the aforementioned time. 15 years to become economically self-sufficient again. But once again, the American Indian was forced into reducing our livestock. The boss farmer concept was instituted.
Paradox
we were told
Business
what, when,
Group,
where,
Paradox
how much,
Business.
and how little we could grow. This applied to agriculture
YouTube.
and our livestock. Again, we recovered in a time
YouTube
span
video
of
player.
approximately 15 years. We were so successful in our third recovery that the American Indians enjoyed the finest of economic times, while the rest of the industrialized world was wallowing in the Great Depression. It was then that President Roosevelt introduced the Howard Wheeler Act, better known as the Indian Reorganization Act, the IRA, which institutionalized the so-called tribal governments, which are not one of our institutions, and it is still foreign to us this very day. We have yet to recover. 45 years later, the IRA, Indian tribal governments, on their own initiative, began renewed efforts at reestablishing their sovereignty, focused on the oldest profession of American Indians. That's gambling. Bingo and other gaming operations has been, without exception, a proven initial success. Failure through mismanagement, politics, or litigation has been less than 15%, showing a better than 85% success rate. The new Indian-sponsored gaming industry on reservations dwarfs success ratios of any and all other non-Indian industries in America. Gaming operations have proven to benefit the revenue gathering of all governments, be they county, state, or Indian reservation. With regulation of bingo and gaming by the Congress, we are experiencing repetition of history. One shouldn't remedy success. The results? The United States government, through Congress, once again intervenes to regulate a proven success in violation of all basic and fundamental rules of economics and totally contrary to all the laws of capitalism. American Indians are human beings. We are supposed to be citizens of the United States of America. We fought wars in other countries. Our Navajo Nation code talkers served and saved this nation in World War II. We have the inalienable right to joint venture with whom we choose, as long as we do not harm nor commit fraud upon anyone. There is no piece of evidence anywhere that proves Indians ever conspired with criminal elements to establish bingo. The Bureau of Indian Affairs, the infamous colonial office of the Department of Interior, and the initiator of sleaze in government, has been regulating contracting on Indian reservations since 1824. This fact alone should convince and teach every student of government that regulation of commerce and enterprise does not work. In fact, it only produces the opposite result. Graft and corruption is rampant to the contracting auspices of the BIA and its surrogate tribal government. Indian front contractors bid for and receive government contracts only to proceed to build shoddy, dangerous bridges, buildings, schools, roads, and dams. The Indian is the scapegoat when there is a failure, and is always the one indicted. Contracting on reservations has proven historically to breed and defeat corruption within the BIA and now the tribal governments. Within the past 2 years, I personally have attempted to assist 7 Indian reservations located in the Southwest, the Northwest, and the Northern Plains, to no avail. The investors I represented were from various groups interested in establishing banks, resorts, own public relation firms, factories, fishing ports, and international trade. I now know that tribal governments do not want economic development unless graft is a major ingredient. The BIA is a major player in land leases being sold by petty bureaucrats for as meager an amount as $40. There is a scandal of monstrous proportions occurring in at least 2 Indian agencies, the BIA's branch of land operations and the branch of realty. I challenge this investigations committee to intricately go into the branches of realty and land operations. The BIA does not enforce its trust responsibility, quite to the contrary. In September of 1987, I moved from the poorest county in America, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, to the richest area in the country, the Navajo Indian Reservation. There is no difference. I paraphrase the former Secretary of the Department of the Interior, James Watt. If you want to see an example of failed socialism, go to an Indian reservation. The poorest and richest reservations in our nation suffer from identical problems: mismanagement, a bloated patronage system, no checks and balances, and tribal government's waiver of sovereignty in order to initiate debt. This is not anything new. This is an everyday occurrence in all tribal governments. Problem is leadership. In this case, it is the lack of leadership. Ironically, everyone, including you senators, refer to the allegedly elected tribal officials as leaders. Leaders are supposed to work for a better quality of life for their constituents. It is an insult to my heritage, my ancestors, and my dignity as an Oglala Lakota to have the term used loosely. Many of the tribal officials are honest and sincere men and women who have good hearts. Nevertheless, a vast majority of the tribal officials parasite on the incestuous world of tribal politics. Not as our forefathers, who were the best providers, protectors, defenders, advocators, and friends. The game of who is the most important rules. It's embarrassing. At the turn of the century, American Indians numbered about 230,000, all traditional. With each succeeding generation, we lose our population base and our spirit as once proud peoples. The American Indian statistics of deprivation have remained constant since the end of World War II. All other groups of citizens' fortunes rise and fall with the gross national product, the GNP. The American Indian statistical line of deprivation remains constant, a straight line. With the blatant genocide of our traditional people, we have less than 50,000 in America today. We are averaging a loss of 1,000 a year since 1900. We are losing a value system as distinct people that sets us apart from the industrialized world. These facts surface in our tribal statistics, and no one attempts to do anything about it except for a few social workers and reservation police. This new statistical horror is women and child abuse. Child sexual abuse is epidemic on Indian reservations, and all you hear are whispers. This abuse can be directly attributable to the schools on the reservations. Education in the BIA, public, the contract, and missionary schools do not teach positive values from non-Indian culture, and in collusion with the BIA, certainly do not allow Indian culture and values to be taught. The fact is, educators continually denigrate American Indian traditional lifestyle as primitive, dirty, and without any redeemable virtues. And the tribal councils condone it. Needless to say, every time the U.S. government has interfered with American Indian lifestyles, it has been proven to be disastrous. In the 1960s, legal services were implemented on Indian reservations. It was a boon for the people. Tribal officials all of a sudden were held accountable. Legal services stepped in, and lo and behold, tribal courts had power to the power of attorney for the people. The result? An edict from Washington, D.C. is handed down, and legal services can no longer represent people against the tribal government, and they can no longer represent class action lawsuits against any government. Presently, legal services are not much more than a mill for divorce lawyer trainees. Congress passed the American Indian Religious Freedom Act in 1978. To date, 6 cases concerning our freedom of religion has reached the Supreme Court. We lost every one of them. We do not win lawsuits. State governments lose. The only time we allegedly win a lawsuit, it is in reality the federal government winning out over the sovereign rights of a state. Once again, the American Indians are the pawn. Now, the major factors presenting American Indian people with existing rights to self-determination. American Indians suffer under a system of dual citizenship, that is, U.S. citizenship and tribal citizenship maintained by the BIA. Only Hitler did that. The dual citizenship is a major obstacle in the free exercise of individual and tribal sovereignty. The continuing loss and attrition of existing lands to various federal, state, and local laws and or regulations is a hindrance. The abridgment of sovereign rights to remaining lands and the arbitrary monetary policies of settlement of these rights whenever they are recognized. Another major factor preventing Indian people from self-determination, subjugation of the American Indian individual to the laws of government-sponsored tribal governments, and the continuing arbitration of the BIA rules and regulations, which have the force of law, yet are not repealable. Solutions. The American Indian people's right to self-determination is recognized and will be implemented through the following policies. The American Indian individual shall have the right to choose his or her citizenship, and the American Indian nations have the right to choose their level of citizenship and autonomy up to absolute independence. The American Indian will have their just property rights restored which include rights of easement, access, hunting, fishing, prayer, and water. The BIA will be abolished, with the American Indian tribal members deciding the extent and nature of their governments, if any. Negotiations will be undertaken to exchange otherwise unclaimed and unowned federal property for any and all government obligations to the American Indian nations, and to hold fully liable those responsible for any and all damages which have resulted from the resource development on or near reservation lands, including damages done by careless and inexcusable disposal of uranium mill tailings and other mineral and toxic wastes. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for inviting me here. It's been a high honor, especially since I'm the only one invited here today to testify that doesn't receive money from the federal government. Also, I want to I was introduced as a former founder and leader of the American Indian Movement to the tribal chairwomen that you have here, our former associates of the American Indian Movement back in the days when we were gross militants. And so I just wanted to let you in on that the American Indian Movement is a very proud, continuing part of American Indian society. I thank you.
Mr. Means, thank you. You certainly left us with many provoking thoughts about the problems facing American Indians today. And you were kind enough and wise enough to also make some suggestions. I think that is what this committee is looking for. We may agree, we may not agree with him, but it is important to have some thought-provoking ideas where we should go from the standpoint of the relationship between the federal government and the American natives.
Well, I think it's important to understand, to begin with, gender roles are important. I know in Western society that's frowned upon, but in indigenous societies, we have very real gender roles that we adhere to. So that's how we begin to define who we are, what our responsibility is, and create the boundaries for that.
In your way, what is the feminine role and what is the masculine role?
Well, we're charged with giving life, maintaining life, sustaining life. So that involves wellness, emotional wellness, nurturing, the foods that we feed ourselves and our families, the responsibility of nurturing our children, and recognizing that our men need nurturing. Nurturing is a natural, inherent characteristic for women because we are capable of giving life. With a male, it has to be learned. So we recognize that with our men and our young males. So the first few years of a young male's life is surrounded by the mother, the aunties, the grandmother, so that they can feel and learn of the nurturing and the love before they go off to become a boy, a young man.
And within your marriage, if you could just briefly talk to us about what is the balance within your marriage with the masculine and the feminine, or the matriarchal and the patriarchal?
Well, because we recognize the difference, we honor the differences, we can celebrate the differences. I recognize my husband's strengths, and I try not to argue with them. And at the same time, my husband recognizes and celebrates my strengths. So it eliminates any competition. And males, we know, are very pragmatic. They are very strategic thinkers, problem solvers, and that's what they're charged with. And because we as women, we have an inherent power that you can't necessarily see or define, but you can feel it. And when you operate within that power, and that's very much respected in Indigenous societies. In fact, in Western society, women after the second change of life are discarded. Yet in our societies, that's when we really become fully recognized and celebrated. And because we're at that point coming from a perspective of experience, we're no longer dealing with the hormonal changes and imbalances. So we're able to be more critical thinkers. And we always maintain that woman power that guides us and directs us. So we really hold a celebrated part in our society, as well as our relationships amongst our families. The clans, the individual, normally it's the eldest female of that clan has the last word. So there's a lot of respect.
What we could learn from that. Mr. Means, tell me about your wife's strength.
Well, first I want to say something about men go from diaper to diaper. Simple fact. You need a woman at the beginning of life to take care of you, and at the end of your life. And if you're foolish enough not to recognize that throughout your life, you'll never know love. As a male, you'll never know love. And that's the one thing I appreciate. You know, a mother's love doesn't stop with her children. It goes to her mate. And to be a recipient of that deep love that is stronger than I could ever hope to be. Wow. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. And recognizing that as a male, I will always, throughout every portion of my life, need nurturing. You know? And you can't get it by yourself. You can't get it from the mirror. And you only get it from your life mate. And like I say, I'm so blessed. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. But at least with my pearl.
Paradox Business Group, paradoxbusinessgur@gmail.com. Button. Status tray. Time 2:49 a.m. YouTube. Video. Toolbar.
You know, I'm a typical little boy. I struggle against some of her wisdoms. And no, I don't want to do it that way. And then I start feeling a little bit sheepish. And I realize she was right. You know? So I make a decision based on that. The guidance that the females give to the male never stops from diaper to diaper. And the women do not go from diaper to diaper. They go from diaper to a full flowering of beauty. We men, we have a shorter life expectancy. So that's why Indigenous society, matriarchal societies, matrilineal way of living, is based on a lot of intricacies For instance, men do not marry until their feet, their mature body is firmly planted on the ground. They have their path ahead of them for the rest of their life. Then they look for a woman. A contemporary woman? No, that woman's already been married and had kids. He looks for the young woman who is entering her first budding of flowerhood to marry, because in matrilineal living, you understand you're going to live a shorter life. Who's going to take care of you? You need a mother at all times. Now, to a patriarch, that sounds primitive. That sounds ridiculous. And even to the female patriarch, that sounds ridiculous. What, do you give us all the work and all the responsibility? Hey, you're the only human being that goes through 2 changes of life. It gets more beautiful with each stage of your life. We men don't get to go through that. We don't get to understand the completeness of nurturing. You know? We never outgrow our childhood.
Video.
Hello, welcome to Connie Martin's and Talks Books. They were here before the land was anyone else's. They were here before Christopher Columbus arrived in the New World. They were even across the Bering Straits before the lands were changed. I'm talking about the American Indian, or actually the Indian nation. Since the landing of Columbus, since the instilling of many plagues and diseases and greed, they have been robbed of many of their rights. They have been pushed back on reservations that contain natural minerals. They have been pushed back, but they have been given the right to have gambling. Now, how long that will be maintained is another question. But since 1876, the treaties have not been maintained. My guest today, Russell Means, has been a definite American Indian activist, sometimes not always according to the law, but according to what he felt he needed to do. His book is called Where White Men Feared to Tread. It's published by St. Martin's Press, and we'll be back after a short pause. We're talking with Russell Means, author of Where White Men Fear to Tread, published by St. Martin's Press. Welcome, Russell.
Thank you.
A brave eagle, I guess I should say, really.
Well, that was my first name. I'm now on my third.
What were the other 2 names then?
Well, Shio, well, I was given, you see, we're given a name before each age so that we have the chance to live up to that name. And when I was a child, I was given Brave Eagle. And then when I became an adult, I was given Shio, Fancy Dancer. And I became a champion dancer among my own people in my own culture. And I also became a ballroom dance instructor in San Francisco. And then I was given the more responsible name of Oyate Wachiampi, which I am now using, and that means works for the people.
Interesting, because each of the names sort of follows through what your life has been up to this moment.
Exactly.
Pine Ridge, home, your family, and then your parents who moved to California so that you will not have to be sent to boarding schools. I did not know those still existed.
Yes, they exist to this very day. However, they are on the wane, but they mostly exist in Nevada and on the Navajo reservation.
talk a little bit about those boarding schools because, you know, it's not unlike the English who royalty sends their kids away at age 8. But the boarding schools the Indian young men are sent to, are they like reform schools? What is the training they're given?
Well, up until and including the 1970s, there were, of course, havens for pedophiles. I'm talking about boarding schools, both the church boarding schools, Catholic, Episcopalian, Presbyterian, and Baptists, also and of course the government schools. But they also housed the child abusers, both physical and emotional. It was a horror. For example, it was designed to destroy the Indian family.
Yeah, you point that out.
Right. Like my mother and father, they weren't allowed to go to the same boarding schools as their siblings. And they both came from large families.
And yet that's so really antithetical to the whole concept of the Indian tribe and loyalty.
Oh, the clan system. The most important part, and one of the themes of this book, is the fact we come from a matrilineal society, which is diametrically opposed to the patriarchal society you live in right now. And now it's a horizontal outlook on ruling life, where the woman is paramount in the family and in the home and in the community. And so therefore you have community control. It's one of the places where white men fear to tread.
Yeah.
And that's with the woman and in equal partnership with the woman.
In the book, you do end up, you marry Betty, I think is the first wife, and second wife. First wife was Twyla. Many children, many wives, and yet you always spent the first sort of like 6 or 8 months with the infant for the bonding.
Well, actually, I spent longer than that. We consider life beginning as soon as we know the child is in the womb. And when we discover that, then the responsibility of the father takes place. And for the next quadmesters, the first quadmester of pregnancy, we sing to the baby mostly. I'm really going concise here. The second quadmester, we sing and talk. The third quadmester, we do mostly talk with a little bit of singing of our songs that tell things. Now then the child is born. So the fourth quadmester, the 3 months, is when the father really bonds with the child, and he usually takes care of the child. The only thing the mother does is feed the child. We absolutely take care of it. Like for myself, with my last two, I took care in the night when the child woke. I would get up, and I would do everything except, as I said, feed it.
Yeah. Russell, people will know of you from many different worlds, but it does begin with sort of what happened at Wounded
Wounded Knee.
Yes.
Well, that's the...
And at Mount Rushmore, which I think is sort of funny, because you would stand between the two heads, and it was almost like you were microphoning it out to the people and had to scare them.
Right, it was at night.
Yeah.
And I would yell out the 10 Commandments. It was at night, and so the tourists were down there waiting for the lights to come up on the faces, so it was dark, and I would yell out, "Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not lie. And oh, I forgot one. Thou shalt keep thy treaties."
All right, let's talk about the treaties, because that is the sore point through this book, that the United States government hasn't kept its treaties with the various Indian nations.
The deceit.
Yeah.
The deceit of American history and therefore American Indians. But you know what? I have optimism, because I've seen this country face its deceit concerning anti-Semitism. I've seen it face its deceit concerning slavery and its discrimination against black people. I've seen it face its deceit about women and its treatment and their treatment of women in this country. All still of which is ongoing, but they haven't yet faced the deceit about the American Indians. But there's rumblings, and there's a little bit of surfacing of that, facing that deceit.
What's happening then between the war that goes on between the Hopi and the Navajo in Arizona, where they parceled out the land and took holy spots for both tribes and interfaced with them?
You know, Indian policy is actually American policy, both internationally and domestically. What the American government and its corporate bedfellows have done is practice and perfect colonial policies on the reservation, export it to the world through the IMF and the World Bank, etc., and then bring it home to roost upon the American people. So what's happening with the Hopi and the Navajo is that the American government is in bed with the energy companies and these Indian people who have been self-sufficient in the traditional lifestyles for centuries on that land are now being forcibly relocated by the American government, which is a violation of the Treaty of Genocide Reagan just signed into law with the United Nations. Mm-hmm. So they're violated 4 of the 5 definitions of the Treaty of Genocide, and they could do it every day. They're relocating Indians to do this very day. I'll give you an example. Last spring, a 108-year-old Navajo woman who had never been off her piece of land was forcibly relocated. Everyone told the government that if you relocate her, she will die. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Treaties, and then you bring up too about health. That from 1972, I believe, to 1978, 40% of American Indian women who were going into hospitals to give birth were sterilized.
Not to give birth. There's 40% of women of childbearing age were sterilized.
Yeah.
And that's a horrendous statistic. What happened is that even with our astronomical infant birth death rate, we still were the fastest growing ethnic group in a survey done in 1969. 1972, they instituted the sterilization program. We haven't recovered yet, but we're less than 0 population growth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Russell,
But let me say this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. This book is not about the poor Indian.
No,
I put in there facts that are part of my life. But the themes of this book are what I want my young people to grab a hold of.
Yeah. It's also about a very feisty young man named Russell Means, who was very quick to react physically a lot of the times. We're going to take a short pause. When we come back, we'll also talk about who would have thought you'd end up being a movie star. We'll be back after a short pause. We're talking with Russell Means, author of Where White Men Fear to Tread, published by St. Martin's Press. Russell, I'm going to hold up a picture of, I believe it's Plymouth Rock on one side and the AIM on the other. Set the scene for what was happening at that time.
Well, with the statue where you can see I'm shouting, that was at Plymouth Rock, and that is the statue of Massasoit, who was the leader of the Wampanoags who welcomed the Pilgrims, fed and clothed them for 2 years, and taught them how to live in this continent and how to plant, harvest, fertilize, etc. The other picture on the opposite page is the siege that they placed upon us at the Native American Embassy, formerly known as the Bureau of Indian Affairs headquarters in Washington, D.C., that we held captive for 7 days during the election week when Nixon was reelected in 1972.
When you write about that in the book, I can understand everything except you say we destroyed the building. And I thought, what did that accomplish?
It accomplished pride and self-dignity. And what happened, and to show, first let me say, we had a sign up there that we left for the news media to look at, because we knew what the news media would do to us after seeing the physical destruction of the Bureau
Alert.
of Indian Affairs, and the fact that we took 3 tons of Bureau of Indian Affairs documents with us when we left. That was part of the reason, to cover up the fact that we were spiriting away all these important documents that would expose the BIA. But we said, to build the new, we must destroy the old. We physically put the Bureau of Indian Affairs out of business for over 6 weeks. And nobody missed them. Nobody missed them.
Your organization has been in conflict and competition with them, AIM.
Yes.
What has it accomplished?
Well, cutbacks this year, and with the Republican Revolution, we have been after the abolition of the Bureau of Indian Affairs since the inception in 1968 of the American Indian Movement, AIM. And for the simple reason, how can any decent thinking human being today, on the eve of the 21st century, allow a colonial office that is only concerned with the ethnicity of one group of people? There is no Bureau of Caucasian Affairs. There's no Bureau of Jewish Affairs. There's no Bureau of African American Affairs. I'm sorry, we are going to have to do something about it.
And the fact that all Indian tribes are not equal, they are individual tribes.
With their sovereign powers, right? And that's the issue that we have retained. But when you set up a colonial system where you force the Indian people to be dependent upon you, like the government has, you create a third world situation.
The gambling, the Indians were given that right to be able to hold gambling casinos on their reservations. What has that income done for the Indian tribes, the population?
Actually, that's the Indian outsmarting the government. The government has, in every instance, we've become economically viable on whatever reservation we may live on in the United States, and there's over 500 Indian land areas. Every time, the Bureau of Indian Affairs has changed policy to knock us back 2 steps so that we never recover economically. Finally, we outsmarted the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We went to them and said, hey, we'd like to start some bingo games to get some revenue for the nation. They said, okay, figuring we'd be like the Catholics. But we outsmarted them. We have bigger gaming stakes, and we do have sovereignty. So we won in court the right to continue to gamble because we're separate from the state governments. And they've passed rules and regulations to limit our economic growth through gaming. Now they're after crippling taxes. Not only have they cut back over $250 million, they plan to, but then they're going to tax us. This is the proposal by the House Ways and Means Committee at a 30% rate.
Russell, in the best of all possible worlds, what would you want to see for the Indian
Freedom.
tribes? Okay, freedom, but what? Better education, better
Freedom.
colleges?
Freedom. That's it. Freedom from the United States of America and our right to sit at the table of the family of nations.
Be a little more specific, beginning with when you say freedom to move off. I mean, you can move off the
Freedom from the
reservation.
United States of America. Yes, we can move off the reservation, and unfortunately, we're like the refugees of Vietnam, of Mexico, of Cuba. We are forced to leave because of economic reasons. No Indian would leave our home base if we could viably live there economically. We cannot. We live in enforced poverty. So consequently, we're refugees in our own country. We want freedom. Now, not all of us. There are going to be a lot of Indian reservations that want to keep their hands out and be dependent on the federal government, but not my people. And I'm confident that my reservation and maybe a few others would opt for freedom and the human dignity that goes with it.
Do you believe then that with the vote, with the franchise, you could elect your own people who would go to Congress and, with the vote?
Well, nothing to do with Congress. The Demo-Publicans, I call Washington, D.C. the brick wall. And you go to Washington, D.C. and you bang your head against the brick wall, one of 2 things happens. Either you say, ouch, that hurt, and so you leave, or else your brains turn to mush. Look at Congress.
Well, I will say that I think the United States government is based on learning compromise in order to move forward.
That's what's the problem. It should be
Politics is the art of principles. The art of compromise invites corruption. That's why you have the headlines.
But then it is my way, right or wrong. If you aren't willing to give a little, you found that out.
Give a little, we gave you an hemisphere.
All right, we're now talking about 1996, but you discovered that a little bit, what goes on making a movie. I mean, we should say that the cover is Last of the Mohicans, Pocahontas. You have to give a little in order to get a film made. And maybe that's a metaphor for even government in life.
No, I don't think so. I think you cannot equate Hollywood with the politicians on Capitol Hill. I don't see the correlation there whatsoever.
End result.
Pardon? The end result is that both Hollywood and the politicians fill their pockets full of money, but the politicians do it undercover.
Mm-hmm. I don't totally agree, but that's again what makes America sort of not the melting pot you'd like, but the fact that we all come and have to share a bit. Now it's Russell Means' Wounded Knee and William Kunstler, who just passed away. He was an excellent lawyer, because it seemed to me the year of, 1976, you were in and out of trials.
Yes, well, all through the 70s. I went through 13 criminal trials, of which 12 I was my own lawyer, and one of those, or co-counsel. I was co-counsel with Bill Kunstler in my trial about Wounded Knee. Those were thrown out. I wasn't convicted in any case where I was co-counsel or I appeared on my own behalf. The only time I wasn't my own lawyer is when I got convicted.
Yeah.
And sent to prison. But it's like my dad said, and he taught me this. Anything bad happens to you, it's your own damn fault. But if you learn from it, then it was good. So nothing bad happened to you.
Very interesting is the situation where you go to that 30 days of learning how to deal with anger. There's a before and after picture of you here. So much of that you could be teaching youngsters because it's such an important lesson.
Oh, yes. The treatment. I've had this rage all my life. And rage, as you may know, is self-destructive.
Yeah.
Not only do you destroy yourself, but you destroy those loved ones that are closest to you. And I've done that, and that's why I like this book. And a lot of reviewers have noticed that also, that the book is honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I do tell the fact that I was a lousy father and a lousy husband. Nevertheless, I faced my responsibilities eventually. But treatment is what saved my life again. But it's one of the many things in my life that the great mystery has guided. Every time I stepped off the good road, the great mystery would put someone or something or some event in that path and push me back onto the good road. And that's what I want to teach young people, that good things happen to good people. If you persevere and your good goals are always paramount, you after those good goals, no matter what happens to you, don't ever lose sight of them, and good things will happen to you.
And along the way, there's a wonderful teacher who made a difference in your life.
Yes. Miss Handler or Mrs. Levine.
Yes.
She was really the first major person that came in my life that the Great Mystery put there that really saved my life. I was on the road to criminality. I was a dope dealer. I was taking dope myself. I was practically gone.
And the worst was you used your little brother.
Right.
Yeah.
However, she stepped in. I fell in love with her, my puppy love, my first crush. And even when she became Mrs. Levine, the crush remained. I didn't like Mr. Levine, but I had Mrs. Levine, and she later on I knew that she knew I had a crush on her, and she used that crush. After all, she was the only teacher I ever stayed after school for.
Yeah.
But she used that crush to reinstill and reinvigorate my interest in education. And I thought that she was and she is, a fantastic human being. She came there exactly when I needed someone to care about me and to affirm me.
And the final sort of answer to all of us or question when we leave this earth. Did your life make a difference?
I look at my children, all 13 of them, and my 18 grandchildren. My children, been through college, they're successful in school, they're very responsible, good children. And then I look at their mothers, the wives that I chose. So I know that I'm a good man. I have good children, and I make good choices.
And you did make a difference. Russell, thank you. I look forward to the future of films and more books. Will you autograph my book for me?
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if you would like a copy of our publication, Good Books, send me a stamped, self-addressed envelope to Good Books, P.O. Box 69, 1640, Los Angeles, California, 90069. Support your local library. Go in, take out a card, that is how they get funding, and let your congressperson know. Libraries need funding. That's the last place that funds should be cut, because for people who can't afford college, a library can be their own way of learning. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, Russell.
Thank you.